Hello, welcome to one more session of JB's Bio class. In this video, I am going to explain the details of gene regulation in prokaryotes with special reference to the lac operon concept. Before that, if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe now. Before we go into the details of gene regulation in prokaryotes and the basics of lac operon, first of all we should know what is actually meant by gene expression. Now, gene expression is a very common term used in molecular biology, and this refers to the process by which the information from genes is used in the synthesis of functional gene products, mainly the proteins. In simple words, gene expression refers to the process of transcription of a DNA molecule which results in the formation of a molecule of messenger RNA, which then undergoes translation forming a polypeptide chain, which is nothing but a chain made by different amino acids. Now this amino acid or polypeptide molecule, which is formed as a result of translation, then undergoes different types of post-translational modification to form a functional protein. So this entire process, starting from DNA molecule to the formation of a functional protein, is called gene expression. But please also remember that in certain non-protein coding genes, such as the genes which code for transfer RNA molecules or small nuclear RNA molecules, the product is a functional RNA and not a functional protein. Now, after understanding the concept of gene expression, we should also know the difference between the two basic types of genes found in any organism. Now, the genes of an organism can be divided into two basic types. One is called the constitutive genes or the housekeeping genes. Now, these are required for the maintenance of the basic cellular functions and are expressed continuously under normal conditions. The second type of gene is called controllable genes. These are genes which are expressed only when the gene products are needed. That means the time of expression of these genes and the rate of their expression can be controlled or regulated. In other words, these genes are switched on when they are needed and they are switched off when they are not needed. Now, regulation of gene expression refers to only the controllable genes and not to the housekeeping or constitutive genes. Now, let us understand what is regulation of gene expression. Regulation refers to the mechanisms by which organisms control or regulate the expression of their controllable genes. This simply means the controllable genes can be made to express so that their products or proteins are produced when needed by the cell. In other words, the genes are switched on. Similarly, the genes are prevented from expressing themselves when their proteins are not required. That means these genes are switched off. Now, this switching on and switching off mechanism of controllable genes is called regulation of gene expression. Now, this is the various levels or stages at which gene regulation normally occurs in a cell. Now, regulation may occur at the level of modification of structure of DNA, or it might occur at the stage of transcription. This is called as a transcriptional regulation. Regulation may also occur after the transcription of the messenger RNA. This is called post-transcriptional control or post-transcriptional regulation. The splicing of eukaryotic messenger RNA is an example for post-transcriptional regulation of gene expression. Regulation may also occur at the level of translation, which is called a translational regulation, and regulation also occurs after translation, that is post-translational, which is at the level of modification of the polypeptide structures. Now the ultimate product, that is the functional proteins formed as a result of all these processes, may be controlling the various characteristics of the organism, or they may be involved in the structure of a cell as structural proteins, and some of these proteins also involved in regulation of the functioning of the genes, which we are going to study next. So these are the various levels at which regulation of genes occur inside a cell. Now let us come to the specific mechanism of gene regulation in prokaryotes. The most important mechanism of gene regulation in prokaryotes is called the operon system or the operon mechanism. Now we should understand what is an operon. An operon is a functional unit of gene regulation consisting of a few genes coding for proteins, and these genes are called structural genes, and also genes needed for regulating their expression, which are called regulator or control genes. So to summarize, an operon is a battery of genes, or it is a cluster of genes which involves two types of genes: structural genes which code for proteins, and regulator or control genes which are required to regulate the expression of the structural genes. So together it makes up a functional unit of gene expression. Now the important control genes present in an operon or required for the functioning of an operon are called promoter gene, which is designated as gene P, operator gene, that is gene O, and regulatory gene, that is gene I. So this is the general structure of an operon. Now here you can make out two types of genes. Now these genes which are marked as X, Y and Z, these are called structural genes because they actually code for the proteins. Now the expression of these genes are controlled or regulated by other genes which are called promoter gene and operator gene. And also a third gene is involved in regulation, which is called regulatory gene. So these three genes, regulatory gene or gene I, promoter gene or gene P, and operator gene or gene O, these are called control genes. So together this entire cluster of gene consisting of the control region and the structural genes is called as an operon, and this makes a functional unit of gene expression. Now let us further discuss the general structure of an operon. So as we have discussed already, an operon has got structural genes which are capable of undergoing transcription and translation. Thereby they produce the proteins which usually act as enzymes. Now there are also control genes in an operon which are called the promoter gene, which is nothing but a region on DNA where the RNA polymerase binds to begin the process of transcription of the structural genes. Now please refer back to transcription part, wherein transcription begins by the binding of RNA polymerase enzyme to the promoter region of the DNA. The second important gene of the controlling system is called operator gene, which is nothing but a stop or go signal for the RNA polymerase enzyme. When the operator gene is free, the RNA polymerase can move on the structural gene and the transcription can take place. But when the operator gene is blocked by the binding of a repressor protein, the RNA polymerase cannot move on the DNA and the transcription cannot take place. The third gene of the controlling system is called regulatory gene, which is a constitutive gene. That means this gene keeps expressing continuously and it codes for a protein called the repressor protein. Now this repressor protein can bind to the operator gene and prevents the binding of RNA polymerase, and it also prevents the transcription of the structural genes. To repeat, when the repressor protein binds to the operator gene, transcription does not take place. That means the binding of repressor protein to the operator site blocks the operator site and prevents transcription of the structural genes. Now this is another detailed structure of a operon. So you can make out here 4 structural genes which are called as A, B, C, D. So structural genes means they can undergo transcription and they can also undergo translation, forming 4 different proteins here. Now please remember another important aspect of prokaryotic gene expression. Here all these 4 structural genes are transcribed into a common messenger RNA which can undergo translation, forming 4 different proteins. Now this messenger RNA therefore called polycistronic messenger RNA because it can undergo translation and form 4 different proteins. Now these are the promoter region and operator region, and this is the regulatory gene. So together these 3 make up the controlling part of the operon, and all together this cluster of genes is called an operon. Now after studying the general structure of an operon, let us move on to the details of lactose operon, which is also called lac operon. Now in this part we are going to study the structure of lac operon and the mechanism of working of a lac operon. Now first of all, what is lactose operon? Lactose operon is the first discovered example of an operon type of gene regulation system in the bacterium Escherichia coli. It refers to regulation of genes involved in the production of enzymes required for utilization of lactose as a carbon source by E. coli bacterium. Now E. coli bacterium can be grown with different carbon sources. Usually glucose is the carbon source, but lactose could be an alternative. Now if E. coli is grown in the presence of lactose, then it has to produce certain enzymes to degrade this lactose and make it available to the cells, and the genes which are involved in utilization of lactose are controlled by a system which is called as lac operon. The lac operon concept is proposed, or it is discovered by Francois Jacob and Jacques Monod in 1961. Now for this discovery, which is a path-breaking discovery in the area of gene regulation, they were awarded Nobel Prize in 1965 in the field of physiology and medicine. These are the 2 scientists, that is Jacob and Monod, who are responsible for the lac operon discovery. Now coming to the structure of lac operon is a cluster of genes consisting of 3 control genes and 3 structural genes. The 3 control genes of lac operon are, as we have discussed, promoter gene, then operator gene, then regulatory gene. Now, these 3 genes are designated LAC-P, LAC-O and LAC-I. Now, since we have already discussed the nature and the role of these 3 genes in regulating an operon, I am not going to discuss these things again. Moving on to the 3 structural genes of lac operon. The first structural gene is called a LAC-Z gene. Now this is the gene which codes for an intracellular enzyme called beta-galactosidase, which breaks down lactose to form galactose and glucose. So LAC-Z codes for beta-galactosidase enzyme. The second structural gene is called a LAC-Y gene. Now this is the gene which codes for a second enzyme involved in lactose metabolism, which is called lactose permease. The function of this permease enzyme is to transport lactose molecules from the culture medium into the interiors of the bacterial cells. The third structural gene is LAC-A gene, which produces an enzyme called beta-galactosidase transacetylase. Now the exact function of transacetylase is not known well, and it is also not very essential in lactose metabolism. What I mean to say is the LAC-Z gene and LAC-Y gene are very important genes involved in lactose metabolism. So this is the structure of LAC operon as explained so far. Now these are the three structural genes of the LAC operon, that is LAC-Z, LAC-Y, LAC-A. LAC-Z after expression forms beta-galactosidase, LAC-Y produces permease, and LAC-A produces beta-galactosidase transacetylase. Now these three structural genes are controlled by the operator gene, which is immediately adjacent to the LAC-Z gene, and then the promoter gene, that is the LAC-P gene, and the LAC-I or regulatory gene. So LAC-I, LAC-P and LAC-O are the three control genes of LAC operon, and LAC-Z, LAC-Y and LAC-A are the three structural genes of LAC operon. Now to repeat, LAC-I is a constitutive or housekeeping gene which keeps expressing continuously, and it produces a protein which is called as LAC repressor protein. So this is the structure of LAC operon, and understanding this structure is very important to understand the functioning of LAC operon, which we are going to study next. Now this is the actual structure of LAC operon, showing the size of each gene. Now here you can make out the LAC-Z gene is the longest gene with about 3005-10 nucleotides, whereas this is gene Y, gene A, whereas the promoter and operator genes are very short in length, whereas gene I is about 1040 nucleotides in length. And this is the position of LAC operon region on the E. coli chromosome. So this is the E. coli chromosome, these are the adjacent genes, and this is the LAC operon region, which consists of all these different genes, that is gene Z, Y, A, I, P and O. Now let us move on to the actual working of a LAC operon. You should understand that the LAC operon remains switched off or repressed when lactose is absent in the growth medium of E. coli cells. Now please understand the significance of this switching off. Now when lactose is not available in the medium, the three enzymes are not essential, and if the cell produces these enzymes, it is simply wasting its energy. So to avoid this, when lactose is not available in the medium, the cell does not produce the enzymes which is not necessary. Now thereby it avoids the wastage of enzymes. The E. coli cells produce the necessary enzymes for lactose metabolism only when lactose is available in the medium. That means in the presence of lactose, the LAC operon gets switched on, or it can be said that it is induced or it is activated. Thus the three structural genes express forming the necessary enzymes, and using these enzymes, E. coli cells can use lactose for their growth. To summarize, LAC operon remains in a switched off state when lactose is not available in the medium, and only when lactose is available in the medium, the LAC operon gets switched on or it becomes induced. Now let us try to understand how this repression and induction take place. So in this illustration you can see how repression of LAC operon takes place when lactose is absent in the medium. So here you can make out this is the LAC operon with the three genes LAC-I, LAC-P, LAC-O, and these are the three structural genes, that is LAC-Z, LAC-Y and LAC-A. So as I have already explained, LAC-O is a region where the repressor protein can bind, and promoter is the region where the RNA polymerase can bind. Now let us see what happens when the lactose is absent. The regulatory gene or LAC-I gene undergoes a transcription forming a messenger RNA and a translation leading to the formation of a repressor protein. So the LAC-I gene expresses and forms the repressor protein. Next, this repressor protein binds to the operator site and blocks the operator site. As a result, the RNA polymerase enzyme cannot move on the structural genes, and when RNA polymerase cannot move on the structural genes, the LAC-Z, LAC-Y and LAC-A genes cannot undergo transcription and also translation, thereby the enzymes are not produced. So the structural genes cannot undergo transcription and translation, thus the enzymes are not produced. So in the absence of lactose, due to the binding of the repressor protein to the operator gene, the transcription of structural genes does not occur, and thereby the enzymes are not produced. So this is how the LAC operon remains in a switched off state when lactose is not available in the medium. Now let us see what happens when lactose is available in the medium and how lactose induces or switches on the LAC operon. As usual, LAC-I being a constitutive gene undergoes transcription and translation forming the repressor protein. But in this case, the lactose molecules are present in the medium. So what actually the lactose molecules do is they bind to the repressor protein and change the structure of the repressor protein, or they inactivate the repressor protein so that they cannot bind to the operator gene now. So here it is better to remember, it is not actually lactose molecules directly binding to the repressor protein. Instead, an isomeric form of lactose, which is called allolactose, is actually binding to the repressor protein. Lactose molecules bind to repressor proteins and inactivate them. The inactivated repressor proteins cannot bind to the operator gene. As a result, the operator site is free now. It is not blocked by repressor protein. Now the RNA polymerase enzyme can move on the LAC-Z gene and it can transcribe the 3 structural genes, resulting in the formation of a polycistronic messenger RNA molecule. And once the messenger RNA molecule is formed, it can undergo translation forming the 3 necessary enzymes, that is beta-galactosidase, permease and transacetylase, and thereby the lactose can be metabolized and used by E. coli cells as an energy source. So here it's mentioned the 3 structural genes can undergo translation and the enzymes are produced, lactose is utilized by cells. This is how lactose, when present in the medium, switches on the lactose operon, resulting in the formation of 3 proteins necessary for utilization of lactose. This is how the lactose operon functions.